everybody, and welcome to Reviews from Hell. I am your host, AJ, and I am joined tonight by my co-host, Steve.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to be taking a look at Ty West's new film, X. Now, Ty is obviously known for The Sacrament and The House of the Devil.
And the Innkeepers.
And the Innkeepers as well.
Innkeepers is a big deal, too. Yeah, don't sleep on the Innkeepers now.
Now, with the Innkeepers, I only thought the ending was worthwhile. Everything else...
Oh, get it out of here. That movie rules. It is an exercise in just like tension building in that set. I want to live there. I just want to go there and stay forever.
And now Ty is back with his...
Just moving on. He's like, we're not even stopping there.
He's back with his executive producer, Peter Falk, and they re-teamed with X, and I think this may be Ty's maybe best, maybe second best, depending how you rate this along The House of the Devil. I think, because personally, I really love The House of the Devil, even though I know a lot of people have a big distaste for it. But
who are those people? Because I don't want to be their friend if they have a distaste for House of the Devil, because it's easily one of the best movies in the past 10, 15 years.
I agree, but there are some people online, that are like, nothing really happens in this.
You can find people online to say just about anything. So put zero stock in those people, because The House of the Devil is awesome, much like Ty West. He's just one of those names. If I hear there's a new Ty West film coming out, boom, I'm there. And it had been a minute since we got a new horror film from him. He's been doing a lot of TV.
Because the last film he did was... what was it? In a Valley of Violence?
Yeah, the Western. Yeah, which is awesome, and it still feels.
It was a good petty Western, I thought.
It's still very much Ty West. Like it's he's got a pretty big wheelhouse, and a lot of the stuff he's done on TV has been very prolific, I guess, as well. But it's been what was exciting from the get-go for two reasons. When I first saw the X trailer, it just felt like just a shotgun blast of fresh air. For one,
it
is total. It's a new Ty West horror film. He is an auteur, and it's been a minute since we got one, so we're excited for that. Two, A24 is on a hot streak, and this looks like something that could break them out of
a mainstream audience as well.
A preconceived box, though. It's not what you. When you think of A24, you think deliberately paced, dread, slow burns.
To some people,
a little more what some people call art house, whatever.
As I did yesterday, I called it kind of like the Miramax of this generation with how they do horror films.
Well,
not versus their catalog, but just how they treat art house horror films. Like
sure, they're like, well, we'll give you. I think it was kind of like, and when I think of Jason Blum, and I think of the earliest days of
Blumhouse, like the Oren Paley stuff,
or like Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem, where it was basically like Rob Zombie just come off this horrible experience with the Weinsteins, like everybody making those two Halloween movies, just dimension. And Jason Blum is there like, okay, here, I got another plan. You get creative freedom.
Lawrence of Salem?
Yeah, absolutely. He says, we give you look it up if you need to, but Blum says, we give you the money, you keep the creative freedom, but the budget's going to be a lot smaller than you're used to, but you do what you want to do. We want you to do what you want to do. So they all, it's this whole idea with A24 as well, that it is auteur-driven cinema, which in an IP age, we don't get enough of sometimes. So, or we do get plenty of, but there just seems to be, especially in theater, there is a IP driven kind of from the big studio.
Okay, so Jason Blum did do.
You didn't hear a word I said for 5 minutes because he was trying to prove me wrong.
I was like, no, that movie's too good to be Jason Blum. And
stop that. That's not true. Some of the best horror movies, get out of here with that crap. But anyway, so with Ty West, you get those two things. It's a new A24 film that looks exciting and fresh from a studio that you expect that from, but it looks something new, and you get the first Ty West film in years, first Ty West horror film.
And that's what got me excited for it too. Even though A24 logo is one of the few logos that's around right now that if they're attached to anything, I'm excited to see it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm really excited.
They're a good distribution company. I mean, a production. I think they more kind of go scout for films and distribute them more than anything else, especially at this point. But no, they've got a great track record, and they're one of the studios. I can think of several in the game right now that when I see it, I am interested. And so everybody has their kind of thing. A lot of people get excited when they see a Marvel logo, and I'll get excited. Yeah. We'll get excited when we see that, or like little Yellow Veil pictures, or
I really get excited when I see Yellow Veil, or even now
Spectre Vision.
Dark Star Pictures is something I get excited.
Who was that?
Dark Star Pictures.
Oh, Dark Star's cool.
Yeah,
and so,
they're a new one I get excited for too.
Yeah, Spectre Vision's great. Don't
Spectre Vision. Yeah. Everybody seems to forget Spectre Vision, but they're
not in this house. Not in this house.
They're on par with A24 and Blumhouse. I think.
Yeah, they're great. Awesome.
They're like right there on the spectrum.
Daniel and Elijah Wood, and their podcast through Shudder was awesome too. If anybody's looking for a good podcast,
really? Yeah, I have to look that up.
Visitations, and what they do is they go and they like interview Guillermo del Toro and Lily Amanpour and John Landis. There's a lot of them, and they talk to them.
Oh, that John Landis one would be fun with those two.
That's the very last one, and I think that Elijah Wood and maybe Daniel know too. They seem to be friendly, like they are that they know each other. So, I know that he's got some kids, so they're probably the same age. But anyway, going into the Ty West movie, it's really exciting for a couple of different reasons. And I really, it has this kind of feel of, God forbid anybody compare something to Rob Zombie, but I don't know why. Rob Zombie's a great director. I don't know why.
I think people just hate him just because he's Rob Zombie.
It really does seem to be insane. It's like he makes movies that he wants to make with the woman he loves, and it's like everybody.
I even enjoyed 31 when that came out.
I watched that again recently, and I'll tell you what.
It was better the second time, I think.
Everything with Richard Brake rules. That's the movie that made me a diehard Richard Brake guy, because Doomhead is scary and fun, and he's so mean and cool, but he's not in the movie long enough. And some parts of the movie, it's not his best work, but I still like it. After Lords of Salem, I kind of wanted him to keep going in that direction. He's got that little art house period with Halloween 2 and Lords of Salem, which are great. It's a great double feature with all the surrealism. Yeah. It looks like The Devil's Rejects. It harkens back to that. And of course, immediately.
And it has the homage to, 70s porn, like John Holmes and stuff like that.
Which I heard a lot of people say it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Boogie Nights.
When I saw the trailer and I went to the press screening for the Batman, we were all talking about X coming out.
Yeah.
And I did say this. It kind of did look like Texas Chainsaw Massacre if it was self-aware, kind of like the Scream franchise.
Oh, it's
from the trailer. From the trailer, that's what I got.
Well, there's definitely a lot that is very much calling out to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the film. I mean, there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of misdirection maybe used in that way too, without spoiling anything. I don't know if we want to do spoilers or we don't want to do spoilers.
I mean, we can. It's been a couple weeks, and if people don't want to listen, it'll probably be on videos on demand in 2 to 3 weeks anyway.
Yeah. They've already announced the Blu-ray. It's coming out right around my birthday time.
Yeah, May 24th. Yeah.
Hopefully somebody gets it for me. But anyway, so going into the movie, you have that in your head, and and the thing is with the sex, we don't get that much sex at the movies anymore. We
really don't know, because everybody's kind of seems to shy away from it.
There's a great essay you should read, and I wish I remembered the author's name, but she wrote this piece called Everybody's pretty and no one's horny, or everybody's beautiful and no one's horny. And it's talking about in the MCU age, in the post-Marvel age that we are in, this IP-driven age, there's no sex in Hollywood hardly at all anymore. I think
because parents want to take their kids to it and they don't want to have that conversation.
And when we were kids, well, me, I'm 10 years older than you. When I was 7, I remember being on vacation, just to let people know how different things are. When I was on vacation in Disney World when I was 7, this is 1992, we left the park one day to go see the opening day of Tim Burton's Batman Returns.
You told me about this story, yeah.
Yeah, and that movie had Happy Meals. That movie had toys. That movie was marketed. Even though if you watched the one before that, Batman, not a
There was
kid's
like
movie.
no marketing for that one.
Yeah, right. They didn't know what they really had, you know. I mean, but it was it was like the biggest movie ever. But yeah, it wasn't a kid's movie either. I always thought it was weird that Tim Burton was called a kid's movie director. When I was a little kid, we would watch these movies like Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice, by any standard today, would be rated R, but it's rated PG. Yeah, so I'm excited about a new Beetlejuice movie, though. That could be really cool.
And it's being produced under Brad Pitt's banner, which is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear that Burton is coming back to direct it. And then it's not that I won't be excited, because I think there's got to be other people that could do cool takes on that. But I think that if he wants it, I hope they give him first pass. Or maybe he doesn't want to direct it, but he produces it.
Yeah.
Maybe co-write the script and produce. I'd be like totally cool with that. But but with X, when you go into X and talking about how there's no sex on cinema anymore, right? I'm not used to sitting in a big screen lately and seeing that much sex. And there's a lot of
sex too.
Yeah, and I thought, and so the movie really is in a lot of ways. In some way, it is about sex, obviously, and that narratively it functions. They're making.
And that's what I think a lot of A24.
I'm not dropping any knowledge by saying that. I don't think.
And I think that's what a lot of A24 naysayers might enjoy, there being another subplot before you get to the final act in this film, because they have the subplot with those pornography makers and the filmmaker that kind of lead up to the third and final act. Mm-hmm. When in a typical A24, there's not a whole subplot. It's just building and building,
build and crank that dread. Right. This is not really like that. Although it does sustain for a long time before the shit hits the fan. But it's all the better for it, because the characters are all awesomely written, full-fledged human beings, and the performances are fucking awesome. Like, you've got Brittany Snow is fantastic.
Yeah, and I forgot how much I missed Brittany Snow. Like, who knew?
I did not know. It's so cool to see that there are. I mean, I know things aren't far from perfect, but that there's more better roles, I think, in some respects, for women in the industry today, and in the industry today. But you know what I mean. In movies, I think that it's definitely not where it should be, but it's getting better. And seeing somebody like Brittany Snow come out, and it's like, well, obviously she never had this kind of material to work with before, and she just
and Jenna Ortega as well.
And Jenna Ortega is the new Scream Queen. After Scream and this, and she's going to be Wednesday Addams, man. I mean, it's like,
that's
boom.
So exciting, yeah.
Yeah, and her scream in this puts her in that scream that they put in the trailer, that scream that she gives in the basement. That is Academy Award, like, of Scream Queen Hall of Fame. That is up there, man.
That is,
and just the way she goes out in that movie, I saw that coming because she couldn't calm down. That's all I'm going to say. I just was like, oh god.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the kills coming per se, but they were still fun along the way. Total blast.
Here's the thing, too. When you care about the characters, and you got the guy that was in the Evil Dead movie with Fede Alvarez. I can't think of his name, but he was I think he was in the Thumbsucker way back in the day, which I loved. A very cool indie comedy, if you haven't seen that. But the guy that plays the director of the film with the glasses and stuff, Jenna Ortega's boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's the character that's the second character I enjoyed the least.
Well, he's kind of an asshole. You're supposed to think he's a pretentious hack because he is, you know. But I mean,
it's like he's trying to be the Coen brothers or something.
Yeah, you get to have all these. Yeah, you get to have all these like cringy moments of like, no, it's art, and then he goes on.
And when he wanted to join in, he was like, hell no, man.
It kind of, yeah, totally. And you know, that's the whole point. With him, I think, is that like what a hypocrite he is, because as soon as it's like his girlfriend wants to have some sexual liberation and, you know, and do the film, he's suddenly, you know, Mr. Conservative all of a sudden, you know. And so he's one of those guys that it's like, you know, he just doesn't really have any principles. So It takes some swipe at pretentious film bros, which I always have fun with that character. And I think Scream also did that, took a bunch of swipes with who the killers turned out to be at pretentious film bros. And so it's a good season.
As well as the film's producer, the pornography film's producer was a total asshole.
Oh, the guy that did the Texan guy with the no, he was.
I thought the guy playing him. I have his name written down.
Martin
Henderson. I thought he tried to play it too much like Matthew McConaughey in that.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I did not like his performance at all.
I thought he nailed it. Ty West was talking about him. I heard him on an interview with the Fangoria's All the Colors of the Dark, which I suggest you go listen to it, but wait till after you see the movie. They recommend that, so sure, I'll pass it along. But Martin Henderson came in, and Ty West said everybody else that tried out for that part would come in with like some gold chains or like try to act kind of like some kind of a pimp or something in some way. And he came in and he said the vibe that he wanted that guy to have, and being from Logan, West Virginia, I remember these guys, was like a football coach. Was like he was like the coach. Yeah. And I was like yes, that is like the manager of the JV football team, following you around all the time, rah and you keeping shit together. And I liked how it didn't play him like an asshole, because normally that character would be paper thin and kind of gross, and he's not. Once again, these characters are layered. They all have a belief and are chasing the American dream, and which is also kind of what it's about. Which I think that's where it kind of rubs shoulders with Texas Chainsaw Massacre the most in terms of thematically speaking. About how full of shit.
Especially with Kid Cudi's character in this too.
Oh, the Kid Cudi's character. He's
the best in this movie besides me and Goth and Jennifer Ortega, I think.
Great. He was
I think he's the top three of this film.
Because everybody was so good. I think everybody was so good. So it's hard for me to say best, but he was amazingly cool.
Kid Cudi really stole the show, in my opinion.
His name is Scott Mendusko?
Mescudi, I think. I don't know how to pronounce
it. He's awesome, and he
spills the
world over as Kid Cudi. Yeah. And and just his whole arc was awesome, and I thought that the kill scene, the scene when he goes down by the lake with the old racist guy, I screamed. I went, whoa, in the theater when that shotgun went off. I just
that was huge.
We got to put a spoiler warning on this one because I feel bad. But yeah, once and the thing is, we don't talk about sex, and the way this movie talks about sex is even a double way. It adds another whole layer of, well, if we do talk about sex in movies,
we must talk about your grandparents having sex as well.
Beautiful, it's beautiful sanitized sex with, say, someone that looks like Maxine, played by Mia Goth, right? It's not old people. It's severely old people who are not, they don't live up to any sort of standard of beauty or sex appeal that's sold to us through the media. And we don't talk about seniors having sex. Guess what? Old people.
This movie does.
This movie does. And thank fuck for it, because I was genuinely moved. There's a lot of stuff about alienation in this movie, a lot of stuff about life's regrets, and just about how life can leave us feeling bitter and alone and confused, and just about how we discard older people, and it especially also older poor people. And so it's just, there's all this stuff about that just really moved me, and I found myself moved, and I couldn't believe it watching the movie multiple times. I was actually moved emotionally. I wasn't just scared, I wasn't like laughing, but I was genuinely like really appreciating what they were saying in the moment, and it made it that much scarier. So then you also feel for Pearl. You really do. You really do. And so it makes it that much more complicated. So then once it ratchets up, you're just terrified. Like, I didn't want any of those people to die, including Pearl, maybe your husband. He was the only one that you're like, yeah, I don't, But, I just, it's got so many cool moments in it too, like visual. I keep thinking of that alligator. The first time you see the alligator.
That was slowly going through with Mia Goth was swimming, right?
Yeah, that's the when Maxine goes swimming, and they're making a movie. There's all this just stuff about culture clash, and I like how they kind of psych you out the whole time and make you think that it's about religion, like a worse script would be, or just not a worse script, but just something that has been done before already. Probably
it's almost like a Dogma and Red State kind of thing. The way that you think you're watching it, like, okay, I've seen this movie a million times before.
Yeah, it's totally a red herring, and it's just to you feel like you've seen it before, but really it doesn't mean shit. It's not what it's about. It's about something more real. It's about something more complex and human, which makes it that much fucking scarier. And I haven't seen as much backlash that I thought I would on this movie, because anytime now, if a movie comes out, a horror movie especially, and we all love it, then immediately there's a group of people that
has a ton of backlash, especially if it has a lot of sexual content like this.
Oh, try to hate it. Yeah. Well, it's because Americans have a very prudish, weird relationship with sex. We love it, but we don't like talking about it. Men love to watch porn and love to call women whores. It's just Americans have a very different view of sex than Europe does. We have a much more comfortable.
Is that spoken from experience, Steve?
No comment. We have a much.
Is there a glory hole in your house?
Oh! This is a family show.
I had Mojo Nixon on Infamous Interviews. This is no longer a family show.
You can't keep it family with Mojo. Well, it should. It's just a different kind of family. Yeah, all kinds of families out there. But no glory hole in my house. Sorry to disappoint. This just went right off the rails.
We're off the rails now, but
yeah, let's bring it back.
Bringing it back to X and A24 and sex.
And so you get and it's a movie. I love movies about filmmaking, right? And I mean like something like One Cut of the Dead or Ed Wood, where in the movie it's just about making a movie part of it, and that you get this in that too, and so people can.
Like you would even put Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, in one of those categories, couldn't you?
A movie about filmmaking? Are they making a movie in that movie?
Or they're trying to make a movie about themselves in that.
Oh, movie. They are? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even remember. I only saw it like once. But yeah, okay, yeah, and it gets. Yeah, I'm talking about movies like Ed Wood, where it goes into detail, and so what it does is cool movies like this, like X and Ed Wood, and what's the other one I said? Oh, One Cut of the Dead. They give the audience a little peek behind the curtain of movie magic, and you can see what it's like being on a set every day and making something. And I think that's fucking cool. And I eat shit like that up because I, am just at the very least a professed movie geek. So, right, yeah. Anything like that, any movies like that are about the filmmaking process are really cool. Like that new show that's coming out, The Offer, is very, in some ways, going to be about, not all of it, but there will be life on a set in that movie, which, is always
going to be cool, yeah. And it has Miles Teller and Juno Temple, which is a plus.
Yep. Miles Teller actually took over for Armie Hammer on that.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because it was going to be a movie. It was going to be a movie at first, wasn't it?
No, I always remembered it as Paramount Plus. If you're thinking of something else, Armie Hammer also lost a movie around the same time. So you may be, excuse me.
Okay, I may be confused.
Something called like Shotgun Blues or Shotgun something with Jennifer Lopez. He also lost, like right in the wake of the bizarrest cancellation story ever. It just the whole cannibal stuff. It was like, oh, yeah. Jesus, Armie fucking Hammer. I did see Death on the Nile. They do their best to pretend it's not in the movie.
Yeah, I did notice that.
The trailers were hilarious. They did their best to just be like, he's not here. He's one of the stars. But yeah, I think that did kind of sink that movie. I think people are they have a distaste of him because of all that, to say the very least. I think his studio days are over.
Yeah, but X is not that bad of a film.
X? Oh no, X is a great film. X is fantastic. No, you don't have an Army Hammer problem in X. But also too, this sets up a whole thing where we're going to get and there's also the surprise revelation in the movie about
I thought that was really cool at the very end too.
My girlfriend noticed it first when we were watching it, and
I had no clue. No clue. Even after you were texting me after I saw it, I still had no clue.
See, that's how most people are. They're like, wait, what? But she looked and I said, you're right, because I thought something was weird about their mannerisms were similar. And I was like really similar. And so the thought was like right there, but it got fully formed to her first. And so she was just like,
I told you my thought. I was like, is Pearl having flashbacks or something that?
Yeah, no. Here's the thing. In a perfect world, Mia Goth would already have Oscar buzz for this, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But like the Oscars don't mean shit, especially now.
No, they're
what a
dog and pony show. They've always has been.
Well, I do think
going back to when Marlon Brando won his Oscar.
I think they used to mean something. I honestly do.
I think like in the early days, they meant a whole lot.
Well, I actually think that, and the thing is, it used to be a big event. Like it used to be
post 90s is when it stopped meaning a lot.
And it's just, as somebody that's watched it every year, right? In the past few years, it has even gotten like just especially worse. Like especially worse. It may be like a slow, steady decline since the 90s. I think you're right. But recently, I'm talking about just in the past 4 years, each one is just like boom, 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 to where you're like
it goes down in quality.
How could this get any worse at this point? I can't
popularity contest is kind of, I'm surprised Fast and the Furious hasn't gotten nominated yet.
I think that whole Oscar Twitter poll shit was so lame. I'm just going to tell you.
That killed it forever.
So lame. And the thing, it's just annoying because, everybody knows the Snyder Army on Twitter. They're going to win that.
Yeah.
They're going to win that every time because that's what they do. They got Warner Brothers to begrudgingly release a film because of their Twitter antics. They can handle a fan poll that allows you to vote up to 20 times a day, I saw, by the way.
20 times a day? Yeah.
That's Snyder's winning.
I haven't been on Twitter in a few months, probably.
I like Twitter a lot. I know you don't, but I spend too much time on it. But anyway, so I'm trying to think of anything else that really stuck out. Like the alligator sequence, I always think of, makes me smile.
The sermon, the way they use the sermon throughout the film.
That's what I was talking about. It's a nice like red herring, but it kind of like it just sets the scene.
And when she, it didn't hit me, but when she kept saying that line from the sermon later on, I was like, wait a minute, because she will not stay in the life she does not deserve, or what was that line?
Oh, I can't remember. You know better than I am. That sounded right to me.
Oh no, I'm just guessing.
No. But no, it's very scary and it's effective and scary and effective.
There's quite a bit of comedy in this too, I think.
Oh yeah, it's just full-fledged people and there's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of times
it doesn't feel forced as well, like a lot of horror movies.
No, it's well written. Ty West is a great writer.
Yeah.
His characters, just like in House of the Devil, like you root for these people, and the innkeepers, at least I did get caught up in the relationship between them, and that really sold the film for me. I was engaged the whole time. And the Innkeepers is very much a film that goes till the end in ranching up tension and giving you a few boom booms along the way. But it is
whatever you say, Steve.
It is one long tension build, and so that one especially. But man, the way he moves that camera in that movie and that setting, I could hang out there for days.
I will give the Innkeepers this: they did have excellent production design in that.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that movie. I really, I think that his movies. I think that I would have said that's his best movie until now. I would put The Sacrament in third place, and I would put House.
I probably would too. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I think X is his most accomplished work. I think it's very.
I do too, because I do think it's his most polished and mature work that he's done.
Too. It just seems like
I think crazy, right? Because of how good The House of the Devil is.
Yeah, and that was his. I don't know if that was his first film or not, but it's the first one I remember. The first one I saw. I think people consider that his first kind of big film, at least, but it may have been his first full feature. Period. But I remember him hanging out with that whole collective that started out. It was like Adam Wingard and all those guys.
Yeah.
Joe Swanberg. I remember Ty West had a small role in You're Next as an actor.
Yeah.
He was the guy with the scarf that gets it with the arrow at the table. He dies really early on. He's one of the brothers that doesn't make it very long. But I really, those guys were very exciting when they came out. And I still, when I hear those guys, they're all still working and doing different cool stuff. And I think that Ty West is one of the best American filmmakers out there.
Yeah, especially in independent horror, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those names that, just like I said, I'll go. It's, there's a new Ty West movie. That's all I need to know. I'll be there. Yeah.
So do you want to get into I guess you discussed it already, that Mia Goth plays both.
I didn't know if you were, yeah. Mia Goth plays, so.
Go ahead.
So Mia Goth plays Maxine, who is the star, a very kind of precocious and very driven
kind of
girl.
Linda Lovelace.
She just had that kind of all-American porn girl next door feel of the 70s. And she's smart, she's sexy, and she is kind of the center of this movie, is Maxine. And so the complete opposite of that, right? And she's the lead star also of the lead actress in the adult film they're making, the porno they're making, The Farmer's Daughters. And so, her and Brittany Snow both, but So then there's Pearl, who is the old lady in the film also. And this is heavy spoilers. Stop here if you don't want to know. We've already said too much. Pearl is the one, her and her husband both going around killing people because she snaps, kind of. We don't know if she snaps. We don't know that much. I think that she's probably done stuff like this before.
Yeah, before. I think her husband said, "Have you got out again?" Yeah.
Yeah. So she is a serial killer, I guess, and she's also just feeling lonely and old and forgotten and not touched, and she wants to have sex, and she wants to feel love, and she wants to feel wanted and attractive, and she wants to get off. All those things that humans want that we don't talk about, that are uncomfortable, especially with seniors. And Mia Goth plays both of them. So you get all this beautiful young woman having sex on film within the film that also is mostly drawn toward a male kind of, straight male gaze, obviously. And then you have Pearl having actual sex, coming on to people, having her own kind of agency in a way. And she, that may be too far. I don't know if she does. I guess, yeah, she's kind of liberating herself in her own way through murder and mayhem and a sexual kind of awakening. And it all gets tangled up, and it's all bloody and crazy. And it just brings up all these kind of feelings and ideas that we don't see, that are uncomfortable, that make us think about. I mean, I thought about this movie for days and the ideas behind it after I saw it. I was
frustrated with myself. I didn't stay after the credits because I'm like, it's not a Marvel or a comic book film. I don't need to stay.
Right. I don't need to stay. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. So, you've seen the trailer since then, though, right? Did you look it up on YouTube? It's not there? Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a trailer. It's not out
yet. That, yeah.
They haven't, but he hasn't put that on YouTube or anything yet? Oh, that does suck. It looks crazy as shit. Yeah, it looks crazy. Because, she showed her the picture of Pearl on the wall, and the beginning of the trailer goes back in time to either the 20s or the 30s, and it takes place there, and she's young Pearl. But the trailer is crazy. I'm not giving anything really away other than the basic like window dressing. So awesome. I'm excited for it already.
Sounds amazing. So
absolutely. Go see it.
What's your final verdict on X?
Oh, 5 out of 5. X.
I think I'd agree. I think X is almost like ecstasy on screen.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think that. Oh, I like that, buddy. I think trying to get a pull quote, but X is pure ecstasy on the big screen.
Go see it.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up from Ebert and Siskel.
Let's all go to the lobby. I like Thin Mints. 4 out of 5 would be Hellbender, right? And that's one of the best movies I saw this year. I thought Scream was a solid 4 out of 5. I've seen a few things that I thought were really, really great, but nothing that was this good. And it is that good. So go see it.
I do want to see it again, but then again, I just pre-ordered the Blu-ray on Amazon. So
yeah, I got to get that Blu-ray. I got to do that when we get off here. That's what I'm going to go do. Let's pre-order that thing because it's awesome.
Right. Well, everybody have a good night. This has been Reviews from Hell on Infamous Horrors.
Go watch some horror.